Good evening and welcome to the WDSU News Hot Seat. I'm Travers Mackel. Ms. Wynn, you made some comments about a year and a half ago that a lot of African Americans thought were disparaging towards them. Would you like to clarify that?
It's not my character. Ever since I've been in office, I have demonstrated a very cross-diverse, working with many community, addressing healthy eating in both the low 9 and in the east.
Mr. Thomas, you've been open about your past. 3 seconds. How do voters know that things like that are behind you?
Man, my faith and my commitment to doing the right thing has really played a major role in my life. And just like I have forgiven Councilmember Wynn for comments, whether it was CPT time or greasy fried chicken, I don't think we should hold that against her. We have to move on. I think the voters showed in the first primary that they've moved on. And I'm looking forward, man, to this chance, man. I am so honored and humbled that people have thought enough of me or enough of second chances to give this black man from that community, man, an opportunity not only to change his life, but to even do better. I'm ready to be the best version of me that I can ever be to help the district I come from.
All right, we don't want to run out of time. Let's talk quality of life issues. I'm talking energy and power when storms hit, as well as garbage pickup. In 30 seconds, what is your plan to make sure people in District D have a better quality of life if you're elected?
Many of the issues that we're facing today could have been resolved if previous leaders would have taken the action to make sure that District E is not forgotten. We took the course, and we're going to continue to focus on the issue. I promise to continue to work hard for you as your council member.
Well, first of all, had I been elected already, we would not have been last in pickup after Hurricane Ida, and we would not have been last in pickup after they made the emergency preparation. I knew enough about the system that the council could have gotten together with 5 votes, in spite of the mayor, or in spite of the budget, to do an emergency appropriation or to have emergency contracts actually before the weather event actually happened. We're going to get together, work with the mayor, work with my colleagues, man, as a unit to make sure that essential services are not taken away from our citizens. They pay for that already. And Entergy, when Entergy was given the right to build that $270 million power generation plant, let's use a percentage of their earnings to mitigate any costs passed on to the people who paid for them to build it. Travis Metropolitan Crime Commission, in their report last year, New Orleans East #1 in crime and murder. The Quality of Life Index, dumping and abandoned properties, now #1 in New Orleans East. It was not #1 4 years ago. You can go back and review those old reports. If you look at the history of the communities, when public safety and essential services are threatened, usually that leads to the deaths of a civilization.
Really quickly, my colleague Sherman DeSalle did a pretty good story 2 weeks ago on wild boars roaming a part of New Orleans East. In about 20 seconds, Ms. Wynn, what is your plan to address that nuisance issue in New Orleans East?
Of course, Travis, that we're in their environment as well. And so we know that we've been working with the wildlife and fishery to tackle those issues. I'm committed to make sure to have an understanding and coming up with a solution on how do we tackle that issue. But we are sharing the same environment with the boars.
All right, Mr. Thomas, 20 seconds. What is your plan for dealing with wild boars in that neighborhood out in New Orleans East?
Working with code enforcement, man. Working with the Animal Control Board, just making sure that they're doing their job. Look, that's follow-up, code enforcement, making sure that that agency is taking care of its business.
How do you make sure New Orleans East and the Lower Ninth have enough police presence in that part of the city?
Well, we need to kind of have a balance based on population and actual police officer. We need to beef up on recruitment. Recently, we just passed a funding to provide promotion to over 25 officers. We got to incentivize and sustain our workforce. And we need to make sure that we're very effective and including the best of the best.
In 60 seconds, if elected, how do you make sure New Orleans East and the Ninth Ward have enough cops on the streets to patrol?
Let's take a look at some 21st century policing and dividing up that district that has the largest landmass of any municipal district in the Gulf South. So many people have adopted my plan of landmass times calls for service times population times crime. Why not, while we're trying to rebuild our police department, Travis, you remember, go back to those cooperative endeavor agreements you used to have with the sheriff, with the harbor police, with the levee police, with special task forces that add to the manpower. But here's a basic question. If we increase the police department budget, and it's more than it is now when it had more officers, then to me, I would have asked that question, why? Why is the budget growing and the resources to combat crime Why do we have less of them right now? As well as taking maybe part of the federal appropriation to make sure that we're doing some of the things to help mitigate crime, conflict resolution task force working at our middle school. I met with 2 principals over the last week to start conflict resolution task force in their schools.